Hey, Shalom, Akim. This is Yahawah here, the Surrogate of Yahawashi / Paradigms. Give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahawah, BAHASHAM, Yahawashi, BAHASHAM, HaKadosh, double honors to the apostles and elders of Greatmillstone, taught me truth and well, peace and salutations unto the shepherds that feed the sheep. Yahawah is the Heavenly Father's ancient Hebrew name, which means he to be, and the only begotten Son, who wore ignorantly called Jesus Christ. The real name in the Hebrew is Yahawashi, which means he to be. He's coming to deliver the predestined elect of the nation of Israel. Okay, the 1/3 or the predestined, written in the book of Revelation, the 7th chapter. Okay, 144,000 prophets, which are all men. Okay, and the great multitude, which are helps, men, women, and children who are going to be delivered that are part of that elect number. Okay, and the 12 tribes consist of so-called Negroes, West Indian, Haitians, Hispanic, Latinos, and Native Seminole Indians, and those who descend from those 12. They have mixed complexions, mixed features, speak different tongues, or even closely resemble that of another nation, but their spirit and bloodline goes back to the 12 tribes. All right, to the sincere, all right, to you, I say Shalom. This is a real quick video. As you can see here, why mass layoffs are just getting started. The employee exodus continues, and it gets bigger and wider. It's just expanding and expanding into 2023. What does it say? Is it from seekingalpha.com? It says why mass layoffs are just getting started. Okay, and these topics, all right, what's going on in the world related to the scriptures here, which I'm not going to read. It's going to read the article. This is Isaiah 19:15, which we should know. This Egypt zone, my modern day Egypt, all right, which is here in America, also known as Babylon the Great. All right, it's also called the daughter of Egypt. Here we got Ecclesiastes 12, which we should know as well. As the doors shall be shut in the streets when the sound of the grinding is low, which is work. Okay, and we got another one here, which everyone should be in this mind state. All right, believing Yahawah BAHASHAM Yahawashi is Ephesians 6:13, which is wherefore take unto you the whole armor of Yahawah BAHASHAM Yahawashi. It says God here, that you may be able to withstand in the evil day, and having done all to stand. All right, and you can continue on reading down and to further expounds on that scripture, the next verse. Okay, because you gotta look forward to being laid off as well. All right, there's a video out saying that they're pretty much gonna blame this reset also on the populace. Their workers, they're slaves. Okay, another word for employee is slave. All right, so in order to cut back, they're gonna start laying off a whole lot of their workforce. All right, to usher in a new great reset. Okay, and we're seeing it now. I know you heard the story of the Amazon laying off 10,000 workers. These tech companies since I think June laying off hundreds of thousands of people. All right, and so I'm also hearing truckers are being laid off as well. Okay, right around the time the railroads are getting ready to strike big time. Okay, so I'm just gonna read this real quick, and I'm gonna close it out. All right. Now, this is from Seeking Alpha, like I said. It says why massive layoffs are just getting started. This is November 15th. It says layoffs announcements are starting to pile up across the U.S. economy. Employment is a lagging indicator. It says the economic cycle sequence argues that layoff announcements will intensify in the coming months, and it's going to get worse. Okay, a lot more people getting ready to be laid off. It says even we. All right, so don't be surprised. It says we're about to raise prices at my private, or this is this person at his private firm. Okay, so I'm gonna read this a few here. It says in the last few months we have seen layoff announcements from the major companies like Microsoft, Meta, Stripe, PayPal, Tesla, and more. That goes into a real estate company laying off 13%, trucking companies as well, a giant trucking company, one of the top. So they laid off 650 employees. And oftentimes they don't necessarily show you that there might be managers involved, etc. That would affect more people that are under them, that are just the regular workers. Okay, so it says why are these layoffs starting to pile up all of a sudden? This is just a few months ago. The major economic stories were about worker shortages, specifically truckers. And now we're seeing major companies announce sizable layoffs across all industries, all industries. Okay, and it says from technology to housing to transportation. And that housing thing, okay, this I just heard this on the news too, which I heard earlier in the year in September. Now this is AM New York. It says across the board, cuts will save NYC taxpayers 2.5 billion, help city ride out possible recession. So it's going to be cuts all across the board in the city. That includes FDNY, NYPD, sanitation, MTA as well. Okay, all the things that make this city run. All right, the label it the city that never sleeps. It's gonna be sleeping some more. It's gonna take a longer nap, man. It's getting ready for a long nap. All right, sort of like 2020, but this time, you know, more evidential, not by just a scare or hysteria. It's gonna be the real thing. Okay, so let me go down. Let me see, maybe. All right, so it says in this article, we'll review why layoffs are starting now and why they're going to get worse as we move into 2023, right? And there's a thing I came across, brothers are talking about with this uh, Noah uh, Harari or Joel Noah Harari, whatever you say his name. He's in the tech industry, and he was saying that, which he said earlier this year, maybe even last year, that their quantum computing that the Lord gave them on the left hand side to puff them up with pride, to make them think they're gonna actually be successful in establishing their artificial blessing, which is not going to take root or completely. Is that they said that quantum AI has created a new class, right, upon Earth, and it's called the useless class, where humans will no longer be needed. So this is what you see. Okay, so that's more info for you. That's why they're building smart cities, and soon they're gonna want these people out here to take that MOTB. All right, and cash is going to what, the CBDC. It's on a 12-week program as we speak, and on the 13th, this thing's supposed to, in America at least, the ball's gonna be rolling. All right, it's gonna be how would you say it, in full effect. All right, it's gonna be activated, so to speak, for lack of a better word. Okay, so we go down. Like I said, I just want to breeze through this. It says after the pandemic and the trillions of dollars of stimulus money, there was a boom in housing and the consumption of housing related goods. Housing consumption has now turned down. You have the charts up here, okay, which is another warning sign in the sequence of events we're tracking. First, the Federal Reserve said they were going to tighten monetary policy. Then they started to raise interest rates. Then the housing sector started to cool down. And then we saw the consumption of housing related goods started to decline. Okay, now it says if the slowdown has spread into the consumption of big, bulky, durable goods like home appliances, it puts downward pressure on the transportation industry or the industries that move these manufactured goods around the world. All right, then this is why the comments on the turn down in the trucking market from the CEO of CH Robinson, which I read earlier, are very important in the terms of sequence of events. So I'm gonna skip that. Uh, it says after a very sharp and sustained slowdown in the housing market, followed by weakness in retail sales of housing related goods, and then confirmation of that turn down by trucking companies, you have a very solid and reliable sequence of events that suggests the broader economy and employment will weaken. Clear says these areas are all leading indicators, and when the sequence evolves in a very predictable way, it's confirmation that there is a cyclical process underway. Right. Let's say, let me see. That says so. Just by studying the sequence, it's not a surprise that now, after these events transpired all throughout late 2021 to in 2022, that we're getting announcements of layoffs in late 2022 and likely into 2023. All right, it says the Fed tightens monetary policy, then interest rates go up, the housing market slows down, and the consumption of housing related goods starts to decline. Since the volume of goods moving around the economy has dropped, all right, as going into your crises, all right, since there's less demand for trucking and all forms of transportation, what that sounds like, all right, carbon emission control, okay, you can just go back to Bill Gates in his SCOPEC meeting, I think in 2011, how they gonna cut down carbon emissions, all right, which is should be an in-house thing right now. People should know about that, or more so do. All right. And it says there's less demand for trucking and all forms of transportation. Now layoffs begin. And this is where the economy sits at the end of 2022. All right. Now this is a chart here. It's falling under the 0%. This is EPB, his graph or chart. And this firm, it says EPB leading employment index. It's in the negatives. Okay. So let me see if I have any more. It says the leading employment index turned negative over the summer ahead of the most recent wave of layoff announcements. Not only has the leading index declined and remained in negative territory, but the sequence of events is actually still getting worse. Okay, it says the Federal Reserve is still raising interest rates. The housing market is still slowing down in much worse shape than it was a few months ago. And the decline in housing related goods is still under pressure. Layoff announcements has started to to roll in, but based on the sequence of economic events and the clear picture from the leading employment index, it looks like this softening of the labor market is just getting started. Okay, I just want to read that real quick. Going to there shall be no work for Egypt and the grinding season. Okay, and that scripture I read earlier to put on the whole armor because any moment's notice, from this month to next month, next few months, you might go to work just like them Amazon workers and these tech tech workers come in and say, hey, this is your last day, or you might get a notice saying, hey, we gotta let you go at this date. Okay, so like I said, I'm talking about just in New York City alone, at 2.5 billion, right, or more. This is all across the board. So I just want to get into that real quick. We're going into the prophecies. Babylon falling, from within. Okay, economically, all right, which is prophesied. So just keep your heads up. There's more to come. Just wanted to edify the body of Yahawah Bashim Yahawashi. Hopefully this video was edifying. Till next time, Shalom. Yahawah Bashim Yahawashi. Barakathum. You know what I'm saying? Shalom.